Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Nobody, and today we are heading out to the Untrained Unprofessional Shooting Range. Now what we're doing out at the range is that we are going to be taking the Glock 43, the Super 43 that I just built in the last video, and I wanted to do some tests, and I kind of hit on this in the Super 43 video, and mainly what we're going to be testing is how the compensator affects your ammo, the different grains and velocities, and the different weights that are available. As you can see, I set up an area for measuring how far this is going to go. I plan on trying to have the pistol directly over this little intersection of the sticks. Man, this fly is just super happy I'm here. Gonna have the gun directly over these sticks, you know, so we have a known starting point, and then of course being able to measure, and I can pivot this around to wherever it needs to go. As for the ammo for today's adventure was provided kindly by one of my local big box stores after I paid for it. So what we're going to be running is we're going to be running some just basic range ammo, which I have a Federal American Eagle in the 115, 124, and the 147, and also a variety of self-defense rounds, ranging from 115 grain all the way up to 147. And just for giggles, I found some subsonic 147. I wanted to see what it would do. So all these are going to be run with the factory spring weight, a 15-pound recoil, and a 13-pound recoil. I'm going to be shooting batches of 5. Wait, hold on. Look, I can already hear the keyboards right now clickety-clacky saying that 5 rounds is not enough. And I agree. I would have loved to have done a lot more, like say like 25 rounds, you know, per test, you know, so per spring for each grain, bullet weight, etc. But let's be honest, I'm a small channel. I'm 99.9% self-funded, and that was just economically not going to be feasible. So I had to compromise. That being said, if you would like me to shoot more rounds, I do have a Patreon page, so go to Patreon Nobody Training. Yeah, shameless plug. I know, sorry. So, yes, I get it. However, for the sake of what's going on, let's just pretend that it's enough. Take the average of those ejection distances, and also probably just give you, like, I don't know, the closest and the longest ejection, you know, just so you kind of have an idea of what's going on. Part of these numbers have been skewed by me. And why do I say that? Well, on the wing here, you know, it's like I know we had some comments in the last video when I had built this talking about the flex of the front of the 43 and, well, just about any Glock, in that it is possible to touch the slide. You put enough pressure, you touch the slide, that slows down its velocity and all that, and that is why there are some numbers that are a lot lower than the rest. Yeah, but I got a way to solve that. So I kind of nerded out and did an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll put numbers up right here. You can see that on some of these, you know, like if you look at the American Eagle 115 grain, on a 13-pound spring, I had an ejection distance of 19 inches. Pretty sure that was caused by this guy right here. So that being said, you'll notice that down at the bottom, I kind of have an average distance in inches. I also have a drop the high and low because I was kind of playing with some things, and also a drop the low. Just kind of look at to see how it affected the numbers. If anything, it can get me to narrow down the focus in the future to where I can say, all right, the 115 grain, you know, I want to shoot a lot with the 15-pound spring and really see what it does. So as you're looking at these different loads, you'll notice that as the spring weight goes from 17 pounds to 15 to 13, there are some loads that the distance will actually decrease and some loads where the distance of ejection will increase. I thought that was kind of interesting. What I found even more interesting, and I don't know if, well, I can't think of how I did it, but I'll let you be the judge of this, is that on the 15-pound spring, and I call this the 15-pound problem, is that instead of being linear decreasing or linear increasing, the 15-pound spring bucked the trend. Why it did that, I don't know. Now, I could understand that if I was going through and, like, let's say with the American Eagle 124 grain, which it did happen on this, if I went from 17 to 15 to 13 pound spring all in a row, but I didn't do that. So I went factory 17 pound spring, I shot all the different types of ammo, then I went to the 15 pound spring, shot all the different types of ammo, and then the 13. So how it happened, why it happened, I don't know, but that happened on the American Eagle 124, to a lesser degree on the American Eagle 147, but it was kind of hovering, so I kind of don't count that one. It happened on the Critical Duty 124 and the Winchester Defender 147s. If you think you know the answer of why that is happening, put a comment below. I'd be interested in seeing what your thoughts are. I might even agree. I don't know. I want to learn something. So the first criteria that I was using on this is ejection. And I'm looking at ejection as an expression of slide energy. So the heavier the energy, the farther it's ejecting the rounds, the farther this does this potentially. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So my ideal ejection distance I have targeted to be 6 to 8 feet, which is 72 to 96 inches. That way you don't have to convert math. You're welcome. Now when it comes to working with the comp, the spring weights, and the different loads that I am testing, I really wanted to figure out which combination helped bring the pistol back to my natural point of aim. Because I didn't want it to be higher and then I had to compensate down, and I didn't want the slide to go so far forward that I'm pointing down and I got to compensate up. I wanted to be back in the general direction of where I was aiming. So figuring that out is an important criteria. Also, the other thing that I was looking at is how much the sight moves in the optics window. So it is like if I'm losing track of the dot, if it's going off and then it's coming back down and it comes back into my vision, versus if it stays within the window the entire time. So those were the criterias that I was looking for. All right, so let's talk results. Now, based off of everything that I have done, there are a couple things that I've learned and kind of pushing me to what ammos to carry and to train with. So if I was going to train with American Eagle, I would do so with the 115 grain. Now I have a lot of PMC 115s and they performed pretty much the same as this, so I mostly shoot the PMC bronze. But let's say for all giggles and all purposes here, we're going to go with the American Eagle 115. Now I can do it in the 15-pound spring or I could do it in the 13-pound spring. I mean, really, it's going to come down to, I would have to do a little bit more testing to fine tune to see what helps me with a sight picture a lot better. But I instantly want to think about the 15-pound spring because I am going to be using training ammo, which tends to get dirtier, and I want to have that reliability. Now on the carry loads, the Critical Defense 115s, yeah, that's the right way. The Critical Defense 115s performed really well. And the funny thing is it looks like I should either carry the 17-pound or the 15-pound spring. Again, it comes down to sight picture and my natural point of aim. So I'm going to have to fine-tune that if I decide to go with the Critical Defense. All right, let's talk about the surprise of this whole test. And that is the Hornady Subsonic. And I call it a surprise because I was not expecting it to be as fun and, well, meeting all my criteria as it did. Let's illustrate a point here. So if this is my point of aim right here, the dot literally went like this. It didn't even come close to leaving the optics window, and it just felt the most comfortable and consistent ammunition that I shot. So it's like, and I'm talking about with the dot and coming back down for point of aim. Getting out to ejection distance, it fit that criteria really well also. I mean, not that critical defense didn't, you know, it was a little snappier. I had a lot more movement in the dot. The subsonic, night and day difference. So that is probably going to be the ammunition that I carry for my EDC. So those are the results with my Glock 43X. If you guys have done something like this, you know, to your own stuff, let me know what you found out, you know, what worked for you, what didn't, you know, it's like, I'm kind of interested to know what results you guys have seen. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned something, because I sure did. I'll see you next time.